Do you have a property on your subscribe algorithm for your personal algorithm that you're like, hey babe, if this drops before, 20% and we're taking a trip, like is there one sitting in the back of your head?
That's a really good question. So there is this like Instagram famous like cave house. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I think it's literally called the Cave House. It's by Dunlap
Mm.
Hollow. They're an incredible operator in the space, owner operator. I think they've built most of their stays themselves. They've got 3 or 4 stays. They're in Hocking Hills. The Hocking Hills, like I always talk about Fredericksburg, Texas, and then like, or maybe I should say the Texas Hill Country a little bit more generally, and then Hocking Hills, Ohio, because those two places are like the meccas of unique stays. Like there are more unique stays in Texas, in the Texas Hill Country, and in Hocking Hills, Ohio, than anywhere else in the world. Like I'm convinced of this. I don't actually have the data to back me up, but like I look through this stuff all the time, and in terms of just like the per capita of unique stay given sort of the area, I'm convinced that those two markets have to be the highest. But the cave house is literally like Amy and Bryant from Dunlap Hollow. They literally like built a stunning home into a cave, and Levi Kelly, who is an incredible Airbnb creator. If you aren't following him already, you should go watch his YouTube stuff. I had him on my show, and he said that's actually the of all the places he's been in, he's been to hundreds of stays. It's like that's his favorite place. Like it's just so novel. It's just so unique. So definitely, what I would say to my wife is like, okay, if the cave house ever becomes available at a price we can afford, it could be a 3% discount for all I care, right? We're going. We're going to the cave house.
Yeah, I can see why there's such a demand, well, such a big supply in Texas Hill Country with there's very lax, if any, zoning laws, and um, obviously you're close to like Austin, which has got quite a techie crowd, and I think there's a bit of correlation there. But I'm interested to know why Ohio is such a popular, unique stay place.
I think it's also because land is still relatively cheap, and actually what you'll hear from the folks in Ohio is that there's not a lot like, and the same thing is actually true of Texas, right? There's not a lot of like beautiful places in Texas. There's not a lot of beautiful places in Ohio. The Hocking Hills is this like massive, beautiful state park. I think it's maybe going to be a national park. Is the rumors I've heard it could be turned into a national park. I don't know how that actually works, but like Hocking Hills are these beautiful hills, these beautiful cliffs. When you're walking around there, you really can't believe that you're in Ohio, right? Like Ohio doesn't have like mountains, right? And so I think in the Texas Hill Country, right? Texas is obviously very dry, it's very flat. Texas Hill Country is like the only like decently like nice place in Texas if you want a nature experience.
You're going to get some angry Texans phoning you up now. Go to behind the stays, not here.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, and right, like the Texas Hill Country, right? You've got Texas Hill Country, you've got Austin, you've got San Antonio. It's like, I don't know, 3 maybe 4 hours from Dallas, which is a long drive, but like you could do it. Like it is it's very central.
Dallas Mark drives. They'll get in their car. They don't have a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, they will drive. And with Hocking Hills, right, you've got Columbus, you've got Cincinnati. It's like 45 minutes from Columbus, Ohio. So it's like right outside of the city. You could literally just still go into the city, have like a nice dinner, and then come back to Hocking Hills. So that must have something to do with it.
Yeah, I think also the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in both of those places. If you look at Columbus and Cincinnati, and Ohio is a hotbed of tax breaks and also like real estate developers. I mean, like I've met more guests from Ohio in the last like 2 months than probably 2 years, to be honest with you. And like when I'm speaking with these guests, like they're very entrepreneurial, they're very committed to community, all of the things that are important to the outdoor space or the unique stay space, the community building, the representation of what this area represents to the greater good. Those are those are important characteristics to the people that live in those places. So I'm not like Ohio, I feel like there's just more to come. And, I think it's just at the beginning of what Ohio will look like in the next 5 years, to be honest.
My some good friends of mine, Christine and Kimball, from the cliffs at Hocking Hills, they've also built like a very they're sort of known as the if you guys have seen this on Instagram, they build waterfalls So like they're known as like the waterfall Airbnb people, and what's funny about that is like they've never listed on Airbnb. Like they've been booked direct from the beginning. And there's a really funny story that you guys should, if you have the opportunity to chat with them at some point, you should definitely get them on the podcast because that whole story of why they're not on Airbnb is just a really funny one. And it's nothing against Airbnb as the company or the platform. It's a really cool story. But what Kimball and Christine will tell you, Jacob, is that they try to tell everybody that they meet around the world that they have to come to Ohio. They say Ohio is like the next San Diego. And I'm like, what? Like, no, it's not. And they're like, no, Zach, you don't understand. Like, there's a lot of innovation happening. It's still relatively affordable place to live. There are great cities. There's a good food season, a good food scene that's like really emerging. And you do have like the ability to quickly. It's very centrally located, so you can hop, and airports are decent, so you can hop around as you need. And so, anyways, everyone I've met from Ohio, it's like Minnesota. Like the people that you meet from Minnesota can't stop talking about why Minnesota is like the best state ever. Ohio is the same thing. The people that you meet in Ohio, like they're Ohio till they die-o is what they like to say. And so I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're right, Jacob. There's something in the water in Ohio.
No, listen, I went to college in Wisconsin. I have family in Wisconsin. There's a lot of border competition between Wisconsin and Ohio, and that's right. Ohio. The people from Ohio live and breathe it. But yeah, but I do think that that's a true statement. There's a lot of economical development. I think, and also if you want to do something seasonally, why not? Right? Like, because you can bank on the weather in Ohio. It's brick cold in the winter and it's beautiful in the summer with a little bit of humidity. Little tornado watch situation sometime, I think. But yeah, it's that's awesome. So the Cave House, mark that, listeners, as a must do straight from the expert's mouth.